Blog Talk Radio.
You found us. Real radio for real women. Welcome to Real Raw Radio with your hosts Wendi Blum and Vicky Pestrichelli.
Welcome to Real Raw Radio. We are so excited to be on the air live with you today. I am Wendi Blum, your co-host, and together with Vicky Pestrichelli, we're so excited to share our very first broadcast today of Real Raw Radio. And it is no coincidence that it is Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day, the day of love, which ties into our why we're doing this show. It is our belief that it is the women and for sure some of the smart men that are leading the change and transformation on this beautiful planet. It is our passion, our mission, and our goal to cut through the BS, that's right, the BS, and have the real conversations about things that really matter. Real topics, getting honest, letting go of our crap, and some people might call it fear, and embracing our imperfections, and we are going to expose ours. So there's not going to be any pretense. This is going to be the real deal, real and raw. And I have the honor and privilege to be co-hosting this conversation, this show, with an amazing woman, and she is a leader. Vicky, my dear friend Vicky, was in the radio show for years back in the 80s and 90s. Not that we're going to talk about age or anything, for sure. And now is the founder of two organizations that impact, motivate, and inspire women all over the country. Inspiration University and Inspiration University Foundation are her two organizations completely dedicated to helping women in all walks of life fly to the highest heights to be women they're truly meant to be. Inspiration University's conventions and monthly meetings and workshops change women's lives. So if you're not involved with Inspiration University, you're definitely want to be. So welcome, Vicky. Can you believe it's that day? Here we are.
I cannot believe it is finally here. You and I have been talking about this, for years. And, we kind of sat back and said, that's a little bit scary to even think about doing something like that. And so, you and I kind of decided to get off the couch to take some risks, being authentic, kind of seizing the opportunity, that came our way. And so we said yes. And so instead of sitting on the couch, we're not going to let those opportunities pass us by. So, we set the date, and what I love is that we did pick Valentine's Day because it was, it has so much meaning to so many people, and it's all about love, and that's what we want to be. So I'm really, really, really excited to be doing this with you. And so that, Wendi, I have to introduce you because you are my wonderful co-host, Wendi Blum. As for everybody out there, Wendi, if you don't know, comes from the corporate world. She's actually had 2 decades in the pharmaceutical industry before she launched herself as an entrepreneur. She's the founder of the Success Blueprint. She is a strategy and execution coach who has worked with hundreds of men and women around the world, helping them tap into their power and create a life and a business that they love. She's also an international speaker and a published author, and I highly recommend you go on one of her retreats. They are a must attend, and she is the most passionate and compassionate woman that I know. So hey there, Wendi Blum, my partner in radio and all things fun.
Yeah, it's beautiful to be able to connect together when you have the synergy and to be able to share this in the community together like we're doing today on the radio show. So I feel the same way. Pinch me, dreams become ideas that become goals that manifest into reality, and today is that day. So thank you so much for that kind introduction. We are going to be bringing you extremely extraordinary guests and real conversations around health and wellness, conversations around relationships, and yes, sex, sex and feeling sexy, dating at all ages, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, just dating whenever, world news, the global information, making a difference, giving back, spirituality, and today's topic, love, love, love.
And you know what, today the theme of love around Valentine's Day is so amazing. So we are bringing today some really powerful women around the message of love. So today, you guys, I'm so excited because you'll be hearing from Marci Shimoff. Marci is the author of the Chicken Soup for the Women's Soul series, and you'll find out why she's one of New York Times best-selling female nonfiction writers of all time. Then we're going to be switching gears, and we're going to be talking about finding love online with one of the Internet's best online dating coaches. Laurie Davis will be giving everyone tips and tools that she's found to help others find the date of your dreams. And then we're going to hear from Julia Yarbough, a celebrated news journalist and news anchor, and you'll hear how her journey to find a husband turned out to have an even bigger and better destination. So I'm really excited about all of those guests that we have today.
Me too, and I'm actually holding Marci's book in my hand, Love for No Reason. So I'm really excited that we have Marci on the show and all these our other two fabulous guests.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I tell you what, I thought that today it would kind of be fun to kind of think about what other people do to celebrate Valentine's Day around the world, and just thought I would just tell people that, it's a little bit different in, like, say, Japan. Today is a day that in Japan the women kind of go after the men and celebrate their love with their men, and then next a month from today, March 14th, the men then kind of go back and show the women what they love about them. So it's kind of cool, kind of like our Sadie Hawkins. And then did you know, Wendi, that they believe that the first Valentine card is thought to have originated in France? Ooh la la.
Ooh la la. Well, the city of love.
The city of love. And in South Africa, this is really cool, Valentine's Day lasts for an entire week. Bars, nightclubs, restaurants, they're packed for a week. Can you imagine? We need to look and think, what's 9 months? What's 9 months from now? November. That's when Connor was born. Connor's birthday is November 17th. So, I have to rethink that.
Yeah, and actually, it's my youngest son's birthday today, talking about Valentine's babies. I know that I had kind of put that wish out there, and so it's really a special day all the way around, Can
I share something that's really cool about our kids' birthdays?
Sure.
Your son's birthday is today. My daughter's birthday was yesterday. They were both born in the same hospital and were in the same what is that called? That room that they're all in the little baby cradles. What is that thing?
In the nursery. In the nursery there in the hospital, which is really amazing. And we discovered that because we had dinner together with your daughter, my son, and they instantly connected. So isn't that just interesting? Talking about the world being so small and you don't know something until you know it. I mean, just the discovery of that and how they've connected together. So you just never really know in life when things are going to circle back together. I kind of look at it as life is like a big jigsaw puzzle, and you start to put some of the pieces together. And because we have such a love for each other, and then to have our kids connect in that way and to know that they were born, the day before Valentine's Day and Valentine's Day, it just, you just start to say that's kind of interesting.
In the same hospital. That's what was really cool. You and I were in the same hospital at the same time 23 years ago, so it's really cool. Well,
yeah, beautiful. So checking in to see if we've got Marci ready.
Yes, we do. So we're going to be celebrating love. That's what this day is all about. But in order to love somebody else, we really must find love ourselves. We must learn to fall in love with ourselves because we can only love someone else to the extent that we love ourselves, which brings us to our first guest. Wendi, you've read Marci's books, and you're one of her biggest fans, so I'm thinking, why don't you introduce her?
Well, Marci, do we you have her on the line? Because I know I just want to make sure. We're talking, this is our first radio show, so we're checking in here. We're going to be real and raw.
Well, I'm going to introduce Marci. Marci Shimoff is a #1 New York Times best-selling author, a world-renowned transitional teacher, and an expert on happiness, success, and unconditional love. Her newest book, Love for No Reason, 7 Steps to Creating a Life of Unconditional Love, was actually #3 on the New York Times bestseller list, and I loved the book. Marci's other books, Happiness for No Reason, and her 6 titles in the phenomenally successful Chicken Soup for the Women's Soul series, also sold more than 15 million copies worldwide, and her books have been translated in 33 different languages and have been on the New York Times bestseller list for a total of 118 weeks. Marci was also featured in the movie and in the book, The Secret. So, Marci, we are so delighted to have you with us here today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here with both of you, and happy Valentine's Day to you.
What a very special day, actually, to have this discussion all around unconditional love. And I know you wrote the phenomenally successful book, Happiness for No Reason. So what made you to actually decide to write a book on love?
Well, after I finished writing Happy for No Reason, and it was a very big success. It also hit the New York Times bestseller list, and people really got a lot out of it. I did some soul searching, and I thought, what do I want more than happiness? The reason I wrote Happy for No Reason was I wanted to be happier. So I thought, okay, and it worked. I spent about 10 years. I researched all the great tools and techniques out there, and I'd say I went from a D+ in happiness to an A-. So it really worked. But I thought, okay, well, what do I want more than happiness? And there was only one answer. The only thing that trumps happiness is love. It's the one thing we want more than anything in life. And so I didn't want to just, have the love that comes and goes, because we all know what that's like. It's nice while it lasts, but then you're gone and it's not there. I wanted real lasting love. I wanted to know, could I live in a state of love, no matter what was going on in my circumstances? Could I feel love whether I was in a relationship or not, or whether my relationship was going great or not, or whether, my life was working great? And I wanted to know the answer to that, so that's why I wrote Love for No Reason.
It's interesting that you say that, because so many people feel like once they discover love and they're looking for love, they're seeking love outside of themselves, that's when they'll be happy. So it's really interesting that you wrote a book on happiness first and then wrote this book on Love for No Reason.
Well, what I found is that this is really cool. Love, living in a state of love, this is different than falling in love. I'm not talking about, while falling in love is great, as I said, this is not the big prize in life. The real gold ring is living in a state of love that doesn't depend on a person or a situation or a romantic partner. That feeling that you have when you watch a beautiful sunset, or when you're with an amazing baby and your heart's open, or when you're falling in love and your heart's open, that open-hearted feeling. I wanted to learn how could I live in that state on an ongoing basis, and I found out that this is a skill that anyone can learn. It's just like learning to play the piano. Learning to live in a state of love is learning the specific skills.
So is that what you mean when you say for no reason? It's just because it is. Love is.
Well, the truth of the matter is that love is the essence of who we are. And I know that sounds really airy-fairy and out there, but every spiritual and religious tradition throughout time has said that our essence is love. And that's really good news, because then, if that's the case, our job isn't to create love. It's only to remove what's blocking our experience of it. And Rumi, who's an amazing Sufi poet of the 13th century, he said, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. So this skill that I talk about in learning how to live in a state of love is to really remove those barriers, those blocks that we have to experiencing the truth of who we are.
I love that. And for someone, I spent 20 years in the pharmaceutical industry, so I always like to hear the science side. And I know you talk about that in your book. So can you comment about that?
Absolutely.
The science of love.
Yes. This is not, as I say, some airy-fairy idea. This is actually a physiological state. So there are brain activity that correlates to experiencing more love and compassion. There's biochemistry of love. There's more oxytocin and endorphins and serotonin. And there's even heart rhythm, what's called heart rhythm coherence, that we experience more of when we are feeling love. So we could hook you up right now to all of these scientific monitors and tell whether you were living in a state of love or not.
So in other words, we can actually raise our vibration by tapping into the essence of love inside of ourselves.
Absolutely. That is what this is about. It's about changing your physiology, you'll have new brain waves, new heart rhythms, new biochemistry that enables you to have an ongoing feeling of, oh, I just feel love. How are you today? You know how you are when you fall in love? That's the idea, but it's a lasting kind of a state.
So what advice would you have for somebody? So many people are going through difficult times and challenges, perhaps doesn't have a significant other like me going through a divorce and Vicky. So what would you recommend as a daily practice to tap into that essence of love inside?
Well, first of all, I can absolutely relate. There's a saying, be careful what you're going to write about, amongst authors. There's a saying, be careful what you're going to write about because you'll get tested in it. And no sooner did I sign the contract for Love for No Reason than my world started falling apart on the outside looks of it. I had three friends pass away quite unexpectedly. My husband and I decided to go get divorced. It was a very loving divorce, but even so, it was hard, painful. And we sold our family home of 58 years, and my mother passed away suddenly. So I really got to test this out. And I found that, yes, in fact, despite all of that, you can still live in a state of love. And, in fact, it's what will help you get through any times of challenge or difficulty. So let me give you two practices that you can do. I like to be really practical. Is that okay?
Oh, that's perfect.
Great. Okay. So one practice I learned from a group called the Institute of Heart Math. They're the world's leading researchers on the heart and how love affects our life. And they've actually found, this is really interesting to me, they've found that if you are angry or stressed out for 5 minutes during a day, it can suppress your immune system for up to 6 hours. But if you're feeling love for just 5 minutes, it can strengthen your immune system for 6 hours.
Wow. So actually feeling this love improves your health.
Totally. You're a third less likely to get sick. You live on average 9 years longer. Lots of great benefits to living in a state of love. So I'm going to show you right now a technique that will move you from the stress response into the love response. And it takes about 2 minutes to do. It's really simple, but it's called the inner ease technique. And, again, I learned it from the Institute of Heart Math. It's been scientifically proven. And I'm going to ask everybody to do it along with us because that is really where the rubber meets the road, is in the doing of it. It's not going to bring you any results by just listening to us do it. So, and I'm going to ask you, Wendi, to be my guinea pig, if that's okay. I'm going to, after we're done with this in 2 minutes, I'm going to ask you if you feel any different and how you feel any different, okay?
Okay.
Good. So I please everybody who's listening, do this along with us. Now, if you're in a situation where you're able to close your eyes, I suggest that you do because it goes a little bit deeper. But even if you can't close your eyes, you can still do this with us. So if you're able to right now, please close your eyes. And the first step is to simply place the palm of your hand over your heart. Now, that simple act of putting your hand on your heart starts the flow of a chemical called oxytocin. And oxytocin is dubbed the love hormone because it's what we have more of when we feel bonded and connected with other people. We have more oxytocin. Now, mothers who are breastfeeding have lots of oxytocin, or when we're making love, we have lots of oxytocin. But just putting your own hand on your heart right now is stimulating the flow of oxytocin. Now, the second step is to imagine that you're breathing in and out through the center of your heart. So just picture or feel that your breath is coming in and out through the center of your heart. Now, some people do better picturing this. Some people do better feeling this. It doesn't matter which sense works for you. Just imagine that you're breathing in and out through your heart. You're inhaling and exhaling through your heart. And you may notice that you're already starting to feel some shifts, maybe some deeper breathing, some more relaxation. And finally, the third step. On each in-breath, imagine that you're breathing in love, ease, and compassion. And on your exhales, you can just exhale normally. But on each inhale, imagine that you're breathing in love, ease, and compassion. And again, just exhale normally, doing this at your own pace. Now you can either picture a time when you felt love or think of someone that you feel love with, or you can just say the words love, ease, and compassion. And just saying the words internally will create shifts. So just picture in your heart breathing in love, ease, and compassion, and exhaling normally. And one last time, breathing into your heart, savoring that feeling of love, ease, and compassion. And on the next exhale, you can open up your eyes, and if they were closed, and you can take your hand away. And just notice how you feel right now. Now, that was about 2 minutes, really short period of time. But notice if in that short period of time you feel any different. And we're going to ask Wendi, our guinea pig, to see if anything shifted for her. How do you feel right now, Wendi, as compared to a couple minutes ago?
So here's one word to describe how I feel right now: blissful.
Ooh,
yeah.
Great.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I feel like you just gave such a tremendous gift. I could feel the power, and I could actually feel the energy moving through my heart.
Can I say I feel the same exact way? I did it while you guys were doing it. I did it along. I did the whole thing. I feel wonderful. I feel blissful. That's a great word, Wendi. That's a very good word.
You know what I find is a lot of people say that, or perhaps they say they feel centered or grounded or balanced. A lot of times people will have physical sensations like a warmth in their heart or tingling in their hands and feet. And all of these are signs that you're moving into the love response. And here's the real power in this. Doing it once is nice, but it won't make any significant change in your life. But here's what I'm going to recommend. Do this practice a couple of times a day for the next 2 weeks. And what you'll find is that you have moved more into a habitual state of the love response. It becomes more and more where you live. And what I love about the exercise is that it's so simple. You can do it while you're standing in line at the grocery store or while you're sitting on the telephone with somebody. Nobody has to know that you're doing it, and it will shift you. Isn't that great?
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, really great. Something simple that each and every one of us can incorporate into our lives.
What a wonderful, wonderful gift that was today. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have time for one more? I know that I promised two, but I don't know if we have enough time for a second one.
Absolutely. Let's go for it.
Okay. Well, I'll tell a really quick story around this one before I share the technique. When I was working on Happy for No Reason, I interviewed a woman named C.J. Scarlett, and C.J. had been very depressed. She had had lupus for 15 years. She had a lot of symptoms. She was in pain all the time. She had gained a huge amount of weight. She was getting around in a wheelchair, and she was miserable. Well, she heard about this practice that I'm going to share with you right now, and at first she thought, I can't possibly do this, but she felt she had nothing to lose, so she gave it a try, and here's what the practice is. It's a practice called loving kindness, and all she did was she would wake up in the morning, and she would spend about a minute saying these phrases over and over to herself, and the phrases are, may I be safe, may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I live with ease. May I be safe, may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I live with ease. Then, throughout her day, she would silently beam that wish to everybody she would come across. May you be safe, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you live with ease. So she would be, going down the street in her wheelchair, and she would send that message to strangers, or she would send it to her family members or her coworkers. Anytime she'd see somebody, they didn't even know what she was doing. Well, she did this every day for a year. And I can't tell you what happened to the people that she sent the wish to, but I can tell you what happened to her. After a year, she was out of the wheelchair. She had lost a ton of weight. She was completely symptom-free. She was exercising 3 times a week, and she felt better than she had ever felt in her life. Her doctors tell her that it was a medical miracle, and the only thing that she did differently was this little practice of may you be safe, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you live with ease.
That is a wow.
Wow.
Yep.
Super wow. And something that we can incorporate again. We can incorporate that into our daily lives. What a powerful, powerful story.
And, so often, I'm glad that you appreciate that, and so often, especially on Valentine's Day, people think, I have to have a specific beloved in order to feel love, and it is not true. When we give love to ourselves and share our hearts, even silently, with the world, then every day really is Valentine's Day. And I know that can sound really kind of corny, but it's very real. For people who live in this state of love for no reason, every day is a day where they experience love. And, for me, Valentine's Day is a particularly important day. I am also single this Valentine's Day, but it's a day for me it's the day that my father, 7 years ago today, passed away. And my father was 91 years old, and he was the incredible embodiment of love. He lived his life day in and day out with love. So I really invite you, everyone, all of us, to practice these practices and start living more and more in this state of love. And then truly our life is just an example of that, an expression of that.
I love it.
Yeah, beautiful. And it is the perfect time, this day, Valentine's Day, and this week, to start a new routine, start again, fresh, and allow the essence of who we truly are, of love, to flow through us, but by first filling ourselves up with so much love. So, Marci, thank you so very much. Now, for those that are interested in reading, get a copy, what is your website? How can they get in touch with you?
Great. So the Love for No Reason can be found at thelovebook.com, and there are all kinds of wonderful bonuses that come with getting the book. And also, if you are interested in more about happiness, you can go to happyfornoreason.com, happyfornoreason.com, and there's an assessment there, free assessment to see how you are on the happiness scale and all of that. So I just really want to wish everyone a beautiful, wonderful, love-filled day. There's a great little poem. I don't know if I have time for just a very quick poem about love.
I say go for it. This is amazing.
This is by Emmett Fox, and it really speaks about the power of love. It says, there is no difficulty that enough love will not conquer, no door that enough love will not open, no gulf that enough love will not bridge, and no wall that enough love will not throw down. It makes no difference how deeply seated may be the trouble, how great the mistake. Sufficient realization of love will resolve it all. If only you could love enough, you would be the happiest and most powerful being in the universe.
Wow, what a beautiful way. Just amazing Valentine's Day show. That was amazing and very empowering and inspiring. I'm excited.
Well, we loved having you on the show with us, Marci, the gift that you're giving to so many out into the world, sprinkling love. And so we'll go ahead and pay that forward, right, and really shift.
Yay.
And
much
create that whole energy of love. So beautiful. Thank you so very much. We look forward to having you on again.
Thank you. Thank you. And I just send love to everyone.
Thank you, Marci. Have a wonderful, wonderful Valentine's Day.
You too. Beautiful. Okay, thanks again. Bye,
Bye-bye
Marci.
now.
Bye-bye.
Wow. Marci is so powerful. What an amazing presentation on what we thought was, love for no reason. It's really about loving ourselves. I love that. That was amazing.
Yeah, for certain. I love that she gave practical tools that our listeners can use on a daily basis to fill themselves up with so much love. Today on Valentine's Day, but it's a really great day to just launch it, have it be part of your ritual and part of your routine. Yeah, beautiful. We're so grateful to have her on the show today. And now, as we're opening up our hearts wide, I know my heart, I felt a shift and I felt an opening while we were doing those exercises. So as we're getting ready to introduce our next guest, now that we have filled ourselves with so much love, where do we go to find love, right? So whether that is online, perhaps, there are lots of different vehicles available there. We're going to have that conversation in just a second. But first, I want to mention an interesting study talking about online dating that was done by eHarmony. And it was on what men find most attractive in women. So you want to know?
I want to know.
I know I certainly wanted to know. And that is, so they had a whole list of things. So a woman that is playful. So someone who doesn't take themselves so seriously, someone who's really comfortable, flirty, smiles, and is playful. So really being comfortable in their own skin. Also talking about physical attraction and beauty. And here we're talking about with Marci, the beauty within. When someone is just loving, they radiate beauty. But it also means caring enough about yourself that you're grooming and you're nurturing yourself, you're taking time out for yourself so you're not feeling stressed, so you're taking a few minutes really for yourself each and every day. So that translates into physical attraction. And then next was that the women were grown up around things related to sex. So it's not like taboo. And it doesn't mean just like having sex, but someone very comfortable about talking about sex, comfortable in their own skin.
Yeah, in a mature way, right? In a mature
way, absolutely. Yeah, in a mature way, to be able to talk about it. So, so many of us have felt that topic is taboo, and that's why we're going to bring it up on this show, real and raw, having those conversations. Then next on the list, which is equally important, I know it goes both ways. This might be what men are looking for in women, but I know that I'm looking for this in a partnership, in a relationship, and somebody that I date also, is someone that says thank you. Because men do usually most of the planning. Men want to feel appreciated. They want to feel the appreciation. So
we all do, right?
Saying thank you. Absolutely. Those two words are so powerful. Just as can you ever oversay it?
Can I say something can I interject something that's really cool? Talking about saying thank you, and if anybody hasn't gone out there and gotten their Valentine card for their loved one, or if they're thinking about it, maybe this time, instead of getting a Valentine's Day card, you get a thank you card. How cool would that be?
That would be cool. And then you write from your heart. Our hearts are open now after Marci and the beautiful exercise we did with opening our heart. So now to express yourself, to use your voice and express yourself and express your gratitude. Talking about expressing yourself, next on the list was being affectionate. So not the sexual kind of affection, but just being comfortable again in your own skin, making eye contact, and just being an affectionate person. And that goes, we all love that. When we're having a conversation, Vicky, right, just a soft touch on the arm or, just being comfortable expressing and being affectionate.
Absolutely. That's nice. It's nice to get a touch. It's nice to get a wink. It's nice to have eye contact.
We crave that. We crave the human touch. I mean, think back to being a baby, right? Just touch, touch, touch. So it's part of our senses, and it's really important. So, and then next was a girl that will bend the rules.
A little bit of a rebel.
Yeah, a little bit of a rebel. Bend the rules. Okay, it's not breaking the law, but it's bending the rules. It's not breaking the rules, it's like bending them. So not being so rigid and kind of going with the flow, and then, every now and then kind of walking on the wild side. And then next, I know this is one of my favorite too, is someone who's a good kisser. How often do we say, oh, man, that kiss was amazing?
The kiss determines it all, doesn't it? It determines the future. It does, right?
For sure. Absolutely. That's the sex appeal. And that's being playful enough to let yourself go, to be comfortable enough and confident enough that you can let the kiss happen. And that's really important, whether you're attracting a mate or whether you're in a relationship, and you've been in a relationship for a really long time. So no matter whether you're married on this call, whether you're single, whether you're with a partner, regardless, that when you do embrace that kiss, that you really own it, right?
Yeah, that it's really, that there's meaning behind it, that it's not cardboard lips. Right?
Absolutely.
We've all kissed those. Those aren't good. We need better kisses.
But we do remember a good kiss.
There's a couple of other things on that list, Wendi, and the one is that she likes and understands men. Don't all women who are dating, like men? No. The answer is no. But they need to, men need to feel like, you like to be around them. So, there's giving a man the rope that he needs to pursue his passions, that's a nice thing. That makes them feel like that's something that's very attractive to them. And then the last thing on the list was that she likes to laugh a lot. And in parentheses was at his jokes. But they want to be with a woman who thinks that I'm funny, And so when she thinks that he's funny, it makes him just laughing out loud, it makes him feel kind of sexy. So it's it goes both ways. So it was really good. So she likes to laugh. So that's, if you can find a man that makes you laugh, that's so great.
Yeah, laugh and humor, and also laughing at yourself, right? So,
absolutely.
And that goes back to not taking yourself so seriously and being playful. So now that we got some really juicy male attraction tips, why don't you introduce our next guest?
It would be my pleasure.
Now, Wendi, I am excited to talk about this next topic, and especially with our next guest, because my last husband I met online. So what do I want to learn? I want to learn how to do it right the next time. So what did I do? I went out and I found Laurie Davis, the founder and CEO of eFlirtExpert.com. She's going to tell you her backstory because she's got a really, really interesting one. But I chose her for our audience because she has been nominated for the Best Dating Coach online. Is that right, Laurie?
Yeah, I was nominated Best Dating Coach 2 years in a row, actually.
How fun is that? So we have a true expert in every sense of the word about online dating. So I'm really excited. Laurie is the founder of eFlirtexpert.com, and we're so excited to have her here. So Laurie, why don't you tell us your story and how you got started in online dating?
Yeah, sure. So I first started online dating way back in the day, in 2001 when I was 19. And I just always have been so fascinated with technology, so I was kind of a child of the chat rooms and then started online dating before people were really talking about it and it was socially acceptable. I met some great guys. I met some not so great guys. But there were no blogs back then or anything. You kind of had to figure it out on your own. So I did. And then I started convincing my friends to join me. And then they would have all these challenges, and I basically would, teach them everything they needed to know, rewrite their profiles, tell them where to take their dates, like how to approach things, what their outlook should be. And then they would meet some great people. And meanwhile, I was in marketing. I worked for Fortune 500s as a consultant. And during the recession, my biggest client was invested with Bernie Madoff.
Oh.
Yeah. And, it was a recession anyway, so I was losing contracts left and right and getting really nervous and trying to figure out how I could pivot what I had spent my whole career doing because I just knew that marketing, especially consulting, just wasn't going to be a necessary thing for a while. And one of my friends called, and he told me that he was moving in with his girlfriend. And I realized that I helped him meet her online on Match.com, and that, in fact, I helped so many of my other friends. I helped another girl meet her significant other on eHarmony. I helped another guy get laid a lot. And, I've basically been an online expert for years and really honing this craft. And, isn't it quite a lot like marketing your single self? So all of these skills I had professionally really just applied.
I can see how that would work. How marketing a product and marketing yourself online, you got to find your target audience and go for it.
Exactly, and what sets you apart from everyone else. I mean, it's very, very similar. So I just started my business with $50 on a Twitter account. And everything has grown exponentially since then. My new book just came out by Atria, which is a division of Simon & Schuster. It's called Love at First Click, The Ultimate Guide to Online Dating. I have other coaches as well who work one-on-one with clients now, too. And I personally have worked with nearly 1,000 online daters over the last 3.5 years.
That's really exciting. What can you share maybe one of your success stories with us?
Yeah, so there are so many. We actually have 13 marriages / engagements. Some of them are not quite married. And even we have 2 babies that have resulted from the marriages, which is pretty cool. But I just actually did a video shoot with one of my success stories this week. For Fox New York, which is going to air on Valentine's Day on the 10 p.m. news if you're local. But she met her fiance on How About We. I wrote her profile for her, gave her tons of tips. The one that she said was the most helpful to her was to set little goals. That's something I always tell my clients to do. And so she set a goal of writing, I think she wrote 3 guys a week. That was her goal, which is kind of a low goal, to be honest. But usually I recommend you set a daily goal. And she met this fabulous guy who she would never have come across in the rest of her life because she's a tech entrepreneur and he's an artist. That they complement each other so perfectly. They are so, so adorable. And they're getting married next Christmas.
Oh, how nice. That's such a good story.
Yeah.
Well, what are there any statistics for online dating? Because I know that it seems like it's the thing that people are doing. Because I've done online dating before. I did it back in the early 2000s, and it was something that you kind of didn't talk about. Mm-hmm. It really was, right?
It was like a dirty little secret back then.
Right? So what are the statistics now?
1 in 5 relationships begins on an online dating site. And that statistic is over a year old, so I'm sure it is much more. And that also only includes dating sites, not other, social networks and social games and things like that. I actually met my fiance on Twitter. So people are meeting online in tons of different capacities every single day. In fact, there are 1,400 dating sites in North America, to give you an idea of what the space looks like. So there's not, that's becoming a thing also. Niche dating sites are becoming really hot because it's great to be on a mainstream site where you can meet tons of different kinds of people, but it's also nice to be on somewhere where you're going to see a little bit more of a focused group as well, whether you're into fitness or you're into, you're particularly religious or whatever interests you have as well.
Yeah, you are seeing more and more of those sites. I know I come from a yoga background, and so in the yoga world, it really makes a difference because you write down all of your hobbies. But that way, instead of going through when someone writes down, they've got 10 or so hobbies, and then you're really trying to narrow it down to really where the connection is, right? That way, you're like-minded, and you're attracted to another like-minded person. You're probably going to be friends with them, even if you're not going to date them, to say the least, right?
Absolutely. And, that's the big difference, I think, between meeting someone online and offline. Like when you meet someone at a bar or out in life, it's always the chemistry that comes first, usually. You don't really know as much about each other as far as, interests and values are concerned. But when you meet online, you know that you have interests and values, and you got to meet offline to see if the chemistry exists. So it's just kind of a different way of going about things.
Well, is there some sort of tips that you can give us, just some general ideas of some things that we should be doing when we set up our profiles to make us a success story? One of your eFlirt success stories.
Yes. When you're writing your profile, be specific about what you're interested in. Like we just said, it's interest that often will draw someone into your profile, and it's a connection point. So rather than saying something like movies, get specific, like what kind of movies do you like? Woody Allen? Do you like, what kinds of movies do you like? And rather than saying, you're athletic, are you a marathon runner? Are you a yoga? Are you into yoga? Because that's going to attract completely different kinds of people as well. So focusing on a good cross of different interests and being specific about what those interests are. And in fact, if you can, tell a quick little 2 to 3 sentence story about something, because that's really going to humanize you. That's the best way to go about your profile. I call that making it action-oriented. Rather than saying fun, funny, everyone can list personality traits about themselves, but what do those actually mean? And if someone hasn't met you yet, just this big list of you're family oriented, well, that's great, but what does that mean? Do you go on vacation with your family? Telling a story is really going to make you pop off the page.
Well, what are some of the creative things that you've seen some people do with their profiles that kind of helps them, I guess good and bad?
Good and bad. So the good, you can be so creative in your profile. Just make sure that you're answering all the questions, actually. Because if you try to avoid questions or you don't answer it, then you're not really giving enough people enough information to connect with you on, right? But yeah, I've seen people do little lists in their profiles. Sometimes we do that for people just depending upon their personality, if they have like a lot going on. Then it's really skimmable also. But you got to be careful because when you do a list, you have to have things that are going to like totally wow someone and make you look really unique. You can't do a list if it's just going to be like, I'm family oriented, I like to run. Like those things, they need to be more like those story moments.
Right, you can't be boring.
Right. Also, you can get creative with your photos. Your main photo should definitely be like a clear head and shoulders shot where you take up most of the frame, because online dating is a search-based way of meeting. And so you're going to come up on a screen with a bunch of other people. And some other people who are further away in their photos, they're not really going to understand what they look like. They're more likely to click on you if they see you filling up most of the frame and wearing a bold color, actually.
That's especially the bold colors stand out on the screen. That makes sense.
Yes, and actually, the University of Rochester has done some studies on color, and red is by far the best color for women and men to wear. They find that, especially guys, rate women who wear red more attractive and desirable 100% of the time.
Really?
Yeah. Huh, that's really good for you, Vicky, because you wear a lot of red. I wear red occasionally. You wear a lot of red. Really great information, especially with it being Valentine's Day, right? So that is great. So that's so wonderful. Thank you so much. Those are some really useful and unique and very creative ideas for our listeners.
Can you just, Laurie, before we go, can you just give everybody maybe some information on how they can contact you and get a copy of maybe your new book?
Definitely. You can find my book anywhere books are sold. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your local bookstore should have it also. And it's called Love at First Click, The Ultimate Guide to Online Dating. You can also check out our services if you feel like you want a little more one-on-one attention. You can find that at eFlirtExpert.com. And then if you just have like a random question you want to connect with me, the best way to do that is Twitter. I'm always happy to help people in 140 characters and answer any questions you have, and I'm at eFlirtExpert.
Awesome.
Thank you, Laurie. That was I learned a lot today. I have to go out and first of all I have to buy something red. I have to get a new headshot, and I have to.
There's a lot of red in the stores right now.
Yeah, this is a great time to go do that. So thank you, Laurie. Thank you so much for being a part of this on this very special Valentine's Day episode, and we appreciate your time, and I hope that all of our women will connect with you if they need your services, because you sound like you've had a lot of success in your life and your clients' life, so that's very exciting. And I thank you so much. And
yeah, thanks, Laurie. See you on mine.
Thank you.
Well, I feel like I have to go out to the store and get something red.
I'm sitting here looking in my purse for my Macy's coupons.
Yeah,
well, you know what?
That was great.
I thought so too. So now, we've got some tips on how to get online. We've now talked about falling in love with ourselves first. And so now I thought that maybe I had mentioned getting that thank you card, putting that thank you card instead of a Valentine's Day card. But I thought maybe we could talk about a couple of other little things that you could do.
I got a couple ideas. I'd love to share something.
Go.
Okay. So first I posted even this morning on Facebook and on a call that I do on Sunday nights about writing a love note to yourself. So to actually take some time, take out a pen and paper and write out what you love about yourself and send it to you, making yourself your Valentine.
Ooh.
Also, too, somebody else shared something that they're doing tonight. This is a couple. They're going out tonight, and they're going to share 14 things that they love about the other person and exchange that. So I absolutely thought that was so creative, and what a beautiful practice, right?
every Valentine's Day you should do. You should do that every day, but of course we don't.
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen. So, but if you just do that today, 14 things, and so I'm going to do that because it's my son's birthday. I'm actually going to do that. For my son's 21st birthday, I wrote him a book called 21 Wishes for Your 21st Birthday, but I really like that my other son, whose birthday is today, I'm going to write 14 things that I love about you, about having you as my son, and I'm going to give that to him a little bit later on this afternoon. Couple other things. To volunteer and do something secretly for somebody without getting any of the credit for it, just reaching out in love from your heart, and our hearts are so open after being, part of the show today, and so do something secret for somebody else. Also spend some time in love and nurture yourself. This would be a great day to go get your nails done or to take a bubble bath, so something like that. And then somebody else mentioned this morning, a friend of mine by the name of David, that he had posted on his Facebook about just sending love, beaming love out to everyone that you see today. So that's another secret prayer that you're just sending out to people, just radiating and sending love out to others. And then last, I want to talk about something that I just think is amazing, and it's called 1 Billion Rising. And this is something that's taken place today on Valentine's Day, because Valentine's Day is held all around the world, and this is taking place in 140 countries. And it is for people, men and women, to come together in heart and intention to stop violence against women and girls. And the stats are really surprising. Beck, listen to this. 1 in 3 women will be raped or beaten in their lifetime. And Rise Up is about rising up to say enough. And here in South Florida, there is a very large group meeting in Delray Beach, and I will be there, and I invite everybody that's part of this show, all of our listeners, to come join me and join us, because I know, Vicky, you might be coming up for this later today, because it is at the corner of Swinton and Atlantic Boulevard. And so people are going to be doing this all around the world. So I love that this Valentine's Day is used really to step forward in awareness and in collective consciousness, all in the name of love, to make a difference.
I love that idea. Maybe we should, is there maybe a store in that area, Wendi, that we can kind of meet in maybe around 3:45?
There absolutely is. I'll have my cell phone, and I'll be right there at the corner, Swinton and Atlantic. I don't think you're going to be able to miss it, because there are going to be a lot of people there. So I will absolutely see you there, and invite all of our listeners to come out and join us.
I think that's a beautiful idea.
Nice way to participate in something that really gives back and makes a difference on Valentine's Day. And so now that we've had the wonderful love tips from Marci and loving ourselves, and also where to look for love online, now we're going to talk to another amazing woman who on her journey to find a husband really brought on a whole different meaning to her journey. So, Vicky, why don't you introduce our next guest?
Emmy Award-winning broadcast and print journalist Julia Yarbough has 22 years of on-air television, public speaking, and professional writing experience. She's chased the news in the field, brought viewers nightly news reports from the anchor chair at the studios of NBC 6 WTVJ in Miami, KCBS 2 in Los Angeles, WSVN South Florida, and so many others. Julia has received numerous awards, including the prestigious National Academy of Television Arts and Science, Emmy, the Sunshine State Award from the Society of Professional Journalists, and is the recipient of a 2009 fellowship with the Institutes of Journalism and Natural Resources. Welcome, Julia. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me join you and chat with all of your listeners. I appreciate that. It's great to always be with smart, talented, powerful women, so thank you.
Well, thank you for that. Well, we are so excited to have you on because we are doing a show today all about and around love. And what is so exciting about having you with us is that you kind of gave it all up. You left a really tremendous career and went out of your comfort zone, and you did something really amazing. Why don't you tell us about your latest venture?
Well, it's so funny when I hear somebody else describe it. It does sound pretty crazy sometimes when I hear it from somebody else, but probably the best decision that I could have ever made. When I chose to put as much focus on myself as I had on my career for many years, I decided to step away from the news field and take a year to just focus on myself. And for me, what that meant was that I wanted to find a way to have more fulfillment in my personal life. And I've always loved traveling. I love telling stories. So my way of doing that was to take a cross-country road trip with my best girlfriend, see the country from the ground up, have great adventures, meet fascinating people, and as a single professional woman with no dating luck to speak of, I also dated as I went across the country, and I blogged about it, and I called it Highway to a Husband. And it was such a crazy thought pattern and experience, one of the best years of my life, and has opened so many amazing doors personally and professionally because I was willing to step outside of my comfort zone.
So tell us about exactly what you did and what your goals were during your Highway to a Husband road trip.
Well, my theory is that all of us tend to fall into routines and patterns. And sometimes in order to shake things up with your life, you have to step outside of your comfort zone, do something different, go to places where you don't know anybody, have experiences that you've never had before. And so for me, that meant that the more places I went and the more people I met, my theory was that perhaps I would cross paths with the person who would be my Mr. Right. And I'm a firm believer that nobody's going to come knocking at your door to find you. And when you're a single professional working person, it's sometimes really tough to meet people and have the time and the energy and the thought pattern to want to be open to having a relationship. So I decided that I would just completely throw myself to fate and put myself in the path of as many different people as possible. And it was such a life-altering journey, not only from dating different people in different parts of the country, but meeting people with different backgrounds and seeing so many different avenues of what life can be, that it enriched me in ways that I had no idea would happen. I set off looking to find my Mr. Right, and it's been a journey that's actually been much more about self-exploration and figuring out who I am and what I want out of life.
So Highway to a Husband also came into a highway to Julia, if you will.
I like how you put that. Exactly. It's been such a fascinating journey because oftentimes when we set out to do one thing, if we have our vision so focused on the destination, we don't really pay attention to the journey along the way. And for as much as I was looking for something outside the box, my focus was maybe I'll meet somebody. It turns out that what started happening was that I started discovering more aspects of myself that would make me happy in terms of my career and my personal life, and experiences that would make me more fulfilled, and also being able to help other people who might also feel a little stuck in life, to help them find ways to be able to navigate changes for themselves. So it's been a really exciting journey that continues to unfold from day to day.
So if you look back, and are you going to do another one of these road trips?
I would love to. It's a matter of, real life sets in once in a while. And right. I advise anybody who's ever wanted to do something that's a burning desire, figure out a way to make it happen. Sit down, think about your vision for yourself, and do it. Traveling the country had always been a dream of mine. Combining it with a best friend and being able to share the journey with people all over the world was an extra added bonus. And I would love to be out on the road again. Hopefully soon. We're in development right now for a reality show based on the blog. So if the media gods in heaven are listening, we'll be back out on the road soon.
Well, I think that would definitely be a fun series to watch. And so give us a couple of, really exciting adventures that you had, maybe something that was funny, something that was not so funny. What was your favorite day during your journey?
My favorite day during the journey, there were so many. But if I had to just put them into a nutshell, the aspect of going from place to place and just pushing yourself to do something that you haven't done before was incredible. We snorkeled with manatees in North Florida. We camped out along the Rio Grande in South Texas. We hiked in the Rocky Mountain National Park, went fly fishing in Montana, that's amazing to do that. Whale watching in Santa Barbara. So all of these experiences were rolled into something that was so unique. And I think perhaps one of the most exciting was that because of my blog and my personal journey on my search for a husband, we were hired by the Nate Berkus Show to be correspondents for several months. And so we met Carolyn Manzo, housewife of New Jersey, and spent a day with her and her husband and crashed a wedding with her. That's how she met her husband, and she thought, well, maybe you'll meet somebody if we go crash a wedding. And so none of those experiences would have happened had I not been willing to step outside of the norm and take some chances. And so that was just so exciting to have happen. And quite frankly, we didn't have anything bad happen at all on the trip, other than when you spend 10 months in the car with your best friend, sometimes you want to push each other out of the car. But other than that, it was great, and we are still very good friends. So we survived. We survived the road trip.
That does not destroy us makes us stronger.
Exactly. And that was another thing that we learned from this trip was that, we effectively removed all of our safety zones, our careers, our homes, our friends, our family, and we just literally jumped into the unknown. And what we discovered is that people everywhere were very kind. Our faith in human nature was restored, and we discovered that within our friendship, we learned more about how to be in a good, solid relationship, because many of the things that go on in friendships carry over into a relationship, of being respectful, of being kind, of being supportive, of being understanding to one another's needs and feelings. So a lot of unexpected consequences of a road trip to find a husband.
And so, again, that road trip to finding a husband really came back all in all to that road trip to finding and discovering yourself by stepping out of your comfort zone and taking some risks. And so what is next for you? Where do you go from here?
What comes next is it's so interesting because this whole journey it continues to surprise me from day to day, week to week, because it's opened so many new doors. And as I continue to build on looking at the things that I want to do for myself, it's turned out that my journey and my life changes and what I've been through are now starting to help other people. As I said, I think a lot of people are sometimes stuck in life and they're not sure which direction to go and how do they figure out what their desires are and what their vision for themselves is. How do they achieve their dreams? And one of the things that's come from this trip is that I have a better sense of the actionable steps that we all have to take for ourselves in order to figure out what we want to do. And so I'm really determined to help other women and men figure out, are they living life in a passionate way? Are they doing things that make them happy? Are they making choices that leave them fulfilled at the end of the day? And if they're not, then I want to help them reach that point, because I know by making the changes I made, I'm in such a better place today than I was 3 years ago.
That's amazing. Well, that's what sometimes when we step outside of our comfort zones, we do some things that we don't think are we think that they're going to go one way and they go in a completely different direction, but yet the lessons that we learn and the takeaways that we bring back are just amazing.
Exactly. And the takeaway from this trip is that each of us is responsible for what happens in our lives. And we hear that quite often, but until you truly believe it and start living that, that's when you start to see changes. That you have to understand that each little change you are willing to make adds up to big changes, and that we can create our own change. And then when you face some of your own fears, it's amazing what starts to open up in front of you. And that's true for your careers, your relationships with family, and especially with relationships on a personal level, that you have to be open and clear within yourself of what it is you really, truly desire out of your life in order for that to come to fruition.
Well, that really sounds amazing. Wendi, so are you ready to go and take a road trip with me and go around the country searching for a man?
I don't know about actually searching for a man, but what I love so much is actually just taking the journey and the self-discovery journey and spending time getting to know what's inside of each one of us. And I love what you said, Julia, about discovering the kindness and the community when you were out in your travels. And then if it has to be a great date, which is like, wow, why not? So that was just the extra bonus on top of the whole thing. So I just I love that you've taken that step for all of us that would have a dream and think, is that possible? So by you actually doing it, you give permission to others to step into their dream too. So it's very powerful. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
No, it's so important for people to hear that. And I will say, for all of the single individuals out there, they're saying, oh, I can't find a good woman or I can't find a good man. They're all around us. We have to be more open and be willing to take chances and step outside of our comfort zones and maybe talk to somebody that doesn't fit the picture in your mind of what you think the perfect person is. And you would be surprised at how many amazing people are all around you that because we're not being open to the possibilities and open to the opportunity, that they're just passing us by. And so that was one of the big lessons as well, is that many of the people that I went on dates with were not individuals that I would have ever considered in the past, but I was more open to saying, you know what, this is all about exploration. I should be more open and take a chance. And I met some amazing individuals.
And isn't that at the end of the day what it's all about is discovering what we are willing to accept, what we are surprised at by our own discomfort in that in that zone, and suddenly the discomfort turns into something that can be quite amazing and it's more comfortable than we ever thought.
Exactly. Well put.
Well, I am so grateful that you were here with us today, and I'd love to wish you a happy Valentine's Day, and I hope that everybody that's out there gets inspired. Julia, how can they contact you if some of our listeners have some questions?
Oh, it's so easy. You can email me at Julia@highwaytoahusband, and it's so easy to remember, Julia@highwaytoahusband, and I'm happy to speak with anybody and work with them to help them figure out what path they should take and how do they get on that path. It's not always easy, and there are a lot of challenges, but it's so worth it once you start doing the work to claim the life that you want for yourself. And, just a handful of little tips and tools, and you'll be amazed at how quickly things start to turn around. So I would be happy to help people get onto that path.
Well, thank you, Julia Yarbough. That's Julia@highwaytoahusband.com. Thank you so much, Julia, and we will be hearing from you again soon. I'm most certain.
Well, thanks very much, and happy Valentine's Day to everybody. It's a great holiday, and if you are single, don't let Valentine's Day mess with your head, because really it's about appreciating your own heart and loving yourself, and that's a time to honor that. So just no matter where you're at or who you're with, enjoy it.
Thank you, Julia. Have a great day.
Thank you, Julia. Bye, everybody.
Well, that was so powerful. Just a message. Just take the chance, take the journey. It's about the journey anyway. And so what I love about our broadcast today is this umbrella around love. So loving who you are, loving your relationships, your career, taking good care of yourself. Just love is the essence of everything that is. So just starting the conversation here, real and raw, on Real Raw Radio, around the conversation of love.
And we hope you enjoyed our inaugural show today, and you can join us every week on Thursdays at noon right here on blogtalkradio.com/Real Raw. And next week we're going to be celebrating my birthday.
And embracing our age as women, stepping into who we are and embracing it.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm going to be embracing that, too. That's right. I'm going to be embracing it. I'm going to be aging gracefully. We're going to have some great guests talking about aging and things that we can do and feeling good and looking good and just feeling our best.
So pass along the conversation. We'd love to hear from you on Facebook. Leave comments. We really want to build community here on the show.
So follow us on Facebook /Real Raw Radio, and follow us on Twitter @Real Raw Radio 1. And if there's a topic that you'd like to hear about, just let us know by leaving lots and lots of comments. So that's all for now. We'll see you all next week. Wendi, thank you so much for being the most amazing co-host I could have ever had. Yeah, the feeling is so mutual. And thank you to all of our listeners. We look forward to being with you again next week. Happy Love Day. Much love to each and every one of you.
Love, love, love.
Thank you for joining us today on Real Raw Radio. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Real Raw Radio 1 and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Real Raw Radio, where you'll receive updates and pictures, videos, special offers, and so much more. And don't forget to join us right here next week when we'll be discussing more real, raw radio topics that matter to women just like you. So bye for now, and peace out.